Hey everyone, it's Ergo Josh here again to kick off the new year with another display tablet review. I just love doing these, and so I probably won't stop anytime soon. But you may be thinking, wait Josh, aren't you already working on a Procreate course using the iPad Pro only? So why am I reviewing a regular display tablet like this? Well, this time, when ASUS, or is it ASUS? Which one is it? Reached out to me, I was pretty hyped, I'm not gonna lie, because I really enjoy their gaming products and their design aesthetic so much. So I said, go ahead and send over your new 16-inch display tablet. I'd love to see it. I'd love to test it out and see if it's good enough to be recommended to my lovely viewers, because I am incredibly honored to be serving you all and making sure that you are getting the absolute best of your hard-earned cash to create your dreams. So yeah, as you guys know, I am a huge fan of digital art, and I can get real nerdy when it comes to drawing display tablets. I got my first Wacom bamboo tablet right after I graduated high school in 2013, and I've been using all sorts of different drawing devices ever since then. I actually made a huge comparison video here on YouTube if you want to see lots of other tablets compared in the same video, as well as my review playlist so that you can check and see if I've reviewed anything that you might be interested in buying now. It's things like this when giant tech brands like ASUS start making tablets that keep the hype about the tech industry up, for me at least. I'm really interested in the more mobile digital art setups nowadays because it adds so much back to art that you usually miss when you switch from traditional art. It also really makes sense for Wacom to license their tech to corporations that can design and iterate through technological upgrades that are faster and produce more at a scale so that they can sell it for cheaper than a smaller company could do. But a little bit more on that later. Before I get started, I wanted to give you an overview of how my reviews usually go if you happen to be new here. Please subscribe. So this isn't what we call a paid advertisement. I have not been paid cash to review this product and say good things about it. I simply get to keep the display after the review. And y'all who have known me long enough know that I have more than enough drawing tablets, so you can probably understand that this ain't much of a bribe now, is it? With me, I like to keep it casual and authentic, so instead of focusing on all the tech specs and getting to the point really fast, there's plenty of great YouTubers who do that way better than I ever could, but I want to share the whole unboxing process as well and show you all of the nice high-res shots of the product and what it's like to use it. That is my goal. It's to save you a trip to the store to test one of these things out, because usually that isn't even an option. I want you to be able to get as much as you can from this 2D screen to get an idea of what it's like to use the product, because that is what matters at the end of the day, right? So I'll also cover the setup process and the software tech spec bits once we get it all connected. And then after that, you can watch me spend a good 2 hours drawing with this display, compressed all into a little short time lapse. But while that's going, I'll talk more about the detail of what it was like to actually use it, as well as any of the more personal gripes I had. So, as far as the unboxing experience goes, it was very nice, real nice. It was well packaged in terms of protection, and it felt premium. But before we get inside, let me quickly mention the important stuff. The price, $900 USD. Computer? No, this is display only. You're gonna have to plug in a computer or laptop to get this to work. Does this work on a Mac? No. This currently is Windows only, but it does work as an external display for a MacBook just fine. I've tried that. Hopefully they consider making it work on Mac as well, because the pen was moving, it just wasn't where it should be, and there were obviously no drivers or anything to get it to work. Inside the box, you can find the display tablet, a power brick, a power cable, one USB-C data cable, and one HDMI cable. The box also includes a pretty decent carrying case for the tablet itself, so I actually placed it inside and it was quite roomy in there even though there was padding built into the sides of the bag. I would definitely feel most comfortable with both the tablet and my laptop inside at the same time because of how much room is left in there to ease any fears of sitting on it and bending the screen. The only thing I felt was missing from this product is a USB-C to a USB-A adapter for those of you who need to use the HDMI port and might not have a USB-C data port on your computer. You'll also find the included pen, along with a few extra nibs and a nib remover tool. Those are really easy to miss, so make sure you check for them. The pen uses Wacom EMR technology, which is great, right? It's licensed to all sorts of different brands, even with mobile tablets, and it's been branded here to Wacom Feel. This also means that it doesn't need external power, no batteries. So that also means that, unfortunately for me, the pen is very light, and I personally prefer heavier pens like the Apple Pencil and a little bit longer pens as well. But it's plenty long enough for me, and I was perfectly fine to use it. I did not get super upset and angry like when I tried to use the Galaxy tablet. The display itself is surprisingly thin. It feels high quality, but also delicate because of the mix of plastic and metal parts. But it doesn't at all feel cheap. At the same time, it doesn't feel like you can throw it around like you can with an iPad because of its all aluminum housing, right? And it also doesn't feel like you can just bash people over the head with it and use it as a weapon like a Nokia, like anything that Wacom makes. So it's kind of in between there. It has a little loop in the top actually to let you hold the pencil when not in use, and it has a really good grip so you don't have to worry about it falling out. This is honestly something I'm honestly considering modding it somehow to my iPad because I'm tired of it falling off of my iPad's magnetic little area that it charges from. So connecting it up is pretty easy. If you haven't used a pen display tablet before, they need 3 things to work: power, a video signal, and data to send the pressure sensitivity information back and forth to the computer. So if you have a USB-C port that supports Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4 or higher, I believe, the data and the video can be sent via the included USB-C port, and then you can just plug in the power port. Then you plug the power brick in, then that USB-C end into the bottom female USB-C port on the left-hand side of the tablet. Then you can connect the included USB-C cable into the top port that I mentioned before, which would carry your data and your video. But if you don't have a USB-C port on your computer, then you can use the included HDMI cable. The only caveat with that is that you still need to use the USB-C cable for data, so you might have to find a USB-C to USB-A male adapter. The port placement is pretty good. I found that it doesn't get in the way too much since the keyboard that I use is arched over it. I do prefer, though, ports that exit from the top or the back of the display because it's just the cleanest that way and it works for both left and right-handed people. Since I only have to use the 2 cables, it's minimal enough for my standards. The installation process was almost non-existent because once I plugged in the data cable, it came to life and the pen worked and was calibrated automatically. I went ahead to the ASUS website to download the extra software and features, but it was working fine without them in my scenario on my Windows laptop. The pen felt beautifully responsive and smooth. It also had a nice little bounce to the tip that I kind of miss compared to the hardness of the Apple Pencil on the iPad glass. Kind of. Speaking of the glass, it is an etched glass display and is higher quality than your typical matte screen protector, and it lasts a lot longer. The pen glides over it pretty easily, but if you compare my Apple Pencil, the hardness and the extra weight make it sound and feel even better to use. Honestly, one thing I'd really love to see is a generic type of pencil that Wacom makes that can work with any of these different tablets that is really good and has all the customizable features that you see with the new ones that they introduced with their new Cintiq lines. I would get that in a jiffy so that I can just have something that I enjoy using that will work with any of these Wacom EMR enabled devices. For the record as well, I'm using a Dell XPS laptop that is running on Windows 11. The screen itself is top notch. Its remarkable display is both Pantone validated and Kalman verified. It comes with a Delta E color accuracy value of less than 2 to give you 100% sRGB right out of the box. The brightness, unfortunately, is really quite low when you enable that setting to achieve that level of accuracy. However, when it comes to drawing tablets used in professional environments, that can actually be a good thing because you want to be able to get that brightness down low so that you can use it in low lit environments. That way you can see how it might look in a movie theater environment, for example. The color of the walls and the color of the light in the space that you're working in has a great impact on the way you're going to perceive colors as well. It's something that people really care about as soon as you make it to the big screen. Now, there aren't nearly as many settings as what you might be used to on a Wacom, Huion, or XP Pen tablet when it comes to screen mirroring options or the advanced pen sensitivity options or curves. And that's something I do wish it had because I often like to use display tablets as regular graphic tablets where you don't look at it and you just set it to mirror your main monitor. Or you can map it to mirror multiple screens at once, which is something I really liked that worked on Wacom tablets as well as the Zensalabs, but this isn't an option that I see available here. Where it does shine though is the app customization options, because it's pretty much like a fully fledged sideload app that you usually get when you get name brand laptops like ASUS or like the Corsair software, the Razer Synapse stuff. It's almost as in-depth as that, and you can have it have all sorts of different settings to automatically adjust based off of a certain software being the focused or launching, and you can have an on-screen little dial to use with all these other buttons to help really bridge that mobile touchscreen interaction with the pen to make it feel like an iPad, a mobile tablet. I didn't use it much though because I am pretty dedicated to my keyboard for all of my shortcuts, but I can see a lot of potential workflows that could seriously benefit from spending some time in there tweaking things to your liking. I also didn't find the lack of advanced pressure sensitivity curve settings a problem because the software that I was using to test the pressure had their own sensitivity controls. Photoshop was a little bit difficult for me to get looking right, but it still felt fine. This also comes with a cool color calibrator app that you can install to easily switch between profiles, and it's a nicer experience than anything else I remember when it comes to color profile switching. Even some straight up expensive high-end monitors don't have that. The kickstands are fantastic and they have a lot of tension to them, so they don't feel super loose, and they come out in perfectly useful angles, I find. I like to use the silver stand to draw, and then the black one when it just serves as a second monitor. And I actually used it as a movie screen the night it arrived, and it looked perfectly fine. There's also a button to turn on the settings for the monitor itself, which is kind of like any typical computer monitor for your TV. It isn't touch responsive though, so you will need to use the keys on the side to navigate the menu. There was a weird issue with the blue light limiter area where it lags as you scroll through the different presets, but this didn't happen anywhere else in the menu though. Finally, let's get onto my experience using it overall. So I've spent like 2.5 hours drawing on this tablet. I didn't do any painting because I felt with a display tablet, you really are getting that because you want to do more precise work. So drawing, I felt, would be a really good challenge for me as a first-time user. And honestly, I'm pretty happy working on this tablet, even coming from the iPad Pro. It's just as sharp resolution-wise and just as consistent across the screen when you have it in sRGB mode as the iPad Pro does, which is impressive because most LCD panels I've seen for pen tablets are obviously brighter in the middle. You can see how it almost looks like paper at some points in the time lapse because of how evenly lit the screen is. This was the easiest screen for me to film ever. It also has a really snappy feel to it with less latency than I remember having with the Wacom 16-inch Cintiq Pro. I haven't tried the new 17-inch with the boxy edges yet, but this definitely feels like it's a little bit snappier. Now the colors are exactly what you would expect with the ASUS Pro Art line. I've actually purchased their monitors in the past when I was in architecture school, and they were super sturdy, robust, and reliable. They were very consistently lit and had consistent colors, which was super important for me when I was printing my designs for review in my apartment, and those prints can easily cost you $60, and you gotta do that for multiple projects throughout the semester, so getting your colors looking correct on the screen was important. And if I had to rank this, I would honestly say I think it's above or matches Wacom's highest end level. I haven't really tested their newest displays much myself. I've only messed around with the 27-inch when I was at Lightbox, but yeah, the color is on another level, and it makes sense because ASUS has been doing monitors for a long time. Since 2020, ASUS was a 2-time winner at the European Hardware Best Professional Monitor Awards, so that says something. And to be clear, it's not like it's gonna show colors and look like real life, right? But what it does show, it shows incredibly well and incredibly accurately. It's the type of thing where if you use something like this, you're gonna start to notice the varying quality in all sorts of things very quickly. It's just such a nice, consistent screen to work with. It's especially easy on the eyes. Now, as far as parallax goes, I know this is something that is the important thing to add in these type of reviews, and I would say that it's definitely there, it's noticeable, but honestly, it's just the way it is with these types of displays. There will always be parallax if it's laminated or not. It's just gonna have less parallax if it's laminated, more if it's not. The display technology that you would need to get rid of parallax completely would be the stuff that is used in the high-end mobile phones and mobile tablet devices like the iPad Pro. So coming from that, yeah, I had to get used to the parallax a bit, but it was really, really thin. It wasn't anything that you would notice if you're not used to drawing on the iPad Pro or the Samsung Galaxy Tab. Now the 10-point touch, which is a huge feature for this, is really good, I've got to say. I've used this with Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint, and Adobe Fresco, and it was good in all of them. It's definitely the best touch experience I think I've had on a non-mobile device touchscreen, period. Like, I didn't have any problems with it more than I normally would, because touchscreens are honestly just really kind of bad overall. There are so many days where even on my iPhone, I just mistouch, it doesn't register, or on my iPad, I tap something and it doesn't register, right? But it's gotten really close to being as accurate as on my iPad, so it's not bad. It's a little bit laggy, it doesn't respond instantly when you touch it, but that's probably more of a Windows thing. One area that could improve quite a bit though is the palm rejection and the clicking with the pen. This is probably also mostly a Windows issue as well, and maybe I could benefit from spending some more time troubleshooting, but I would regularly find myself back on the desktop as I was just drawing, thinking that the software crashed, but it was me just activating some sort of gesture with my palm, and I would just have to swipe or tap back to Fresco, for example. That happened too many times. Half of the time I tap my mouse with my pen to click something, it didn't actually click. So I'm talking about within UI or on websites. It just wouldn't register a click. It would just show a little animation. So I had to switch and use my trackpad to click things pretty often. The last disappointing thing I have to say about this is that the button on the pen feels pretty much useless. It's the annoying type that I hate that looks like two buttons, but it's really just one button. I felt like all I was doing was accidentally pressing it or missing it if I tried to press it. So it might just be a me thing, because I also find the double tap feature on the Apple Pencil a nightmare most of the time. So I just don't know if these buttons and things on pens are really that useful, because your tool is a really important, delicately crafted device, and buttons could really get in the way of it if you were using it traditionally, for example. But yeah, pen buttons and stuff, I've never enjoyed the experience so far, regardless of brand. Otherwise, there you have it, the ASUS Pro Art PA169CDV pen display tablet. I really enjoyed using it, and I can see myself using it to refine my illustrations further for prints in the near future. I may get some hate for this, but bring it on. This totally beats the latest gen Wacom Cintiq 16 Pro in my humble opinion. I purchased that thing for $1,500 with my own hard-earned cash. And the only thing that thing had over this was its robust build, because they're just built like bricks, and the extra buttons that it had. Neither of those even together feel worthy of $600 to $700 more cost above the price of this device, which is about $900. But Wacom has upped their game again with the new 17-inch Cintiq, so I'm really interested in trying that. That thing is way above this thing's price, so probably not worth comparing, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm really into these mobile devices these days, these smaller sizes. And again, I really just wanted to share that I respect the work that ASUS is doing in the professional creative industry. Their Pro Art line has grown so much since when I got their 24-inch monitors back when I was in college. It's high time creatives got some recognition for their higher demands without having to opt for gamer-focused hardware, and I'm really happy to see tools being created to support the next generation of independent studios, individual artists, animators, illustrators, painters, you name it, all over the world. It's an exciting time. That's it for me though. I've got to get back to my main girl, Procreate, on the iPad Pro and finish this course. So keep drawing and stay positive. Peace. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I hope you enjoyed that video. But today I also wanted to introduce you to my brand new course, Become an Artist, Introduction to Digital Illustration in Procreate. This course has been long overdue, as I'm sure many of you know, but it is finally launching tomorrow, and I wanted to let you know that it's going to be a bit of a staggered release. On a week-by-week basis, we're going to go through each module, 1, 2, 3, all the way through to 7, and we're going to cover everything from setting up your iPad and setting up your professional digital art workspace to completing the illustration. So I think it will be something that's really special, and I want to be able to be in contact with many of you as we go through the course, especially those of you who have pre-ordered. Those spots are still open, by the way, if you want to snag an early bird price. But I really am looking forward to starting and continuing this journey with you, because there are so many things to learn still as I teach you. I'm learning as you are all learning, right? So we're going to start off, like I said, setting up your space as a professional illustrator, and then going forward with that, learning how the iPad works, the important settings, the ins and out of the Procreate settings that at least I use, because this course is going to be in my style. It's going to be for those of you who've liked the work that I've made over the past 6 years, who have supported me and want to learn more in depth. Even though the course is staggered, immediately you will have access to all 20 hours of the entire process, sped up only 4 times, but it's a little bit faster than that because I cut out all of the dead time and all of my research time researching references. If you want to, you can slow it down to half speed and it's still very pleasant to watch. But even then, there's going to be a lot of things that you may have no clue what's going on, but that's perfectly fine because it is going to be revealed to you in the lessons as we go along through the course, right? So For those of you who are itching to get started, you can see my entire process, like 300 real-time research, study, trial, and error compressed into 20. So I've recorded it as high quality as I can, and I hope you enjoy it as we move through the course at a pace that everyone can appreciate, at least, because even though it's an introduction, it's going to be useful for everyone that's at my level or above, or just starting out. I want this course to be an experience that you can take with you far into your career, not just to learn one basic little tool. So that's going to be it from me, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.